Broadcasting from the 72nd floor of First Canadian Place in the heart of Toronto's financial district, this is Hashtag Finance, the podcast that profiles innovative entrepreneurs and thought leaders operating in the public markets. Presented to you by the CSE, the Exchange for Entrepreneurs.
Welcome to Hashtag Finance. I'm your host, Barrington Miller, and today we're here with Joel Shaker atop the 72nd floor on a very snowy, blustery day in downtown Toronto at First Canadian Place. Joel has recently listed his company, Mota Ventures, on the CSE. Welcome to the show, Joel.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Barrington.
The weather's a lot different here than it is in Vancouver, and today we are doing our holiday party. I'm dressed down, I'm in a hoodie, but as you can tell, representing the company. Tell us a little bit about the company.
Yeah, first of all, I got to say I love the hoodie. It looks great on you.
Yeah, so do I. This is great.
Yeah, the company is a public listed company in Canada on the CSE. We just listed it on Wednesday. And we are a Colombian cultivation asset. So we are planning to cultivate, extract, and export non-psychoactive cannabis from Colombia.
Now, why did you choose to do CBD, non-psychoreactive, as opposed to THC or a combination of?
Well, I think non-psychoactive market is, first of all, very broadly accepted. You know, Europe, the U.S., Canada is really moving towards CBD as part of their daily life, and I think that's really the market that we're looking to target here. So, because there's so many different markets opening to CBD, especially with even Asia opening up in the near future, there's a huge market for growth in that space.
Why did you choose Colombia? And I know that you're located just outside of Bogota, a couple hours. What's the appeal there?
Yeah, so Colombia is actually one of the most appealing countries in the world to cultivate in right now. You're seeing a ton of public companies setting up operations there, such as Aurora, Farmacello, Chiron, and the reason for that being...
Blueberries listed on the CSE.
Blueberries listed on the CSE. The reason for that being is that the government is incredibly supportive of the cannabis space in Colombia. The president, Ivan Duque, has really pushed for support for the cannabis industry and pushing these laws ahead to make it easier for Colombian companies to export it internationally and cultivate it there. Additionally, Colombia is an ideal agricultural climate for cannabis. It's an country on the equator, and therefore it has the same climate 365 days a year. So you get about 12 hours of sunlight every single day.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. For greenhouse cultivation, you look at North America and you're getting one season or 4 months in a not ideal climate, whereas in Colombia you're getting four seasons in a 12-hour-a-day sunlight. So just the ability to increase production and revenue through that is substantial.
Well, we had a chance, I personally had a chance to visit Colombia earlier this year. We went to Cartagena and participated in a conference called Expo Cannabis, run by Julian Tobar. There's a plug for him. And I think we'll be there again as well. Now, you're located outside of Bogota, close to a free trade zone. We did a little bit of research, and free trade zones are zones that encourage economic development and those things. Was that done on purpose? Was there some strategy to your location close to the free trade zone? Or
exactly, yes. Free trade zone is the free trade zone location is very important to us. There's a couple reasons why we like free trade zones. One is that you can import the equipment tax-free. So any equipment that you need for cultivation or extraction, you can import to the free trade zones tax-free. Additionally, you can export out of these free trade zones with limited amount of taxes. The current legislation is changing in Colombia to allow for some sort of production of cannabis in free trade zones. However, that hasn't been passed yet. But it's something to keep in mind that we have our eye on right now.
Wow, that's some good forward thinking. So for our audience, they went public on Wednesday, and today is Friday. So it's a newly minted CSE company. Looking forward to 2020 and beyond, what do you think the CBD market, what direction do you think it's going? How big do you think it can be? And how big do you think Mota Ventures can be?
Well, I think it's a booming market. It's undeniable. With the Farm Act passing in the U.S. last year and the Safe Banking Act coming into effect this year, I think there's a significant amount of growth in North America, and that is going to trigger growth globally. So Europe, again, they are working on a number of different laws throughout Europe to allow it to be much more accessible. But if you actually go to Europe, it's everywhere. We're going in UK. It's in pharmacies,
and they're open to Colombian brand and that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think what you're seeing is some of these Colombian companies are getting their export license to export to Europe and other countries, and because you're able to produce it for such a great cost advantage in Colombia, you're going to be able to develop a significant competitive advantage over domestic companies.
Is Mota Ventures, first of all, let's go back. Mota, why did you choose that name?
Well, Mota actually is Spanish for cannabis, so I thought it fit perfectly since we are a Spanish or Colombian cultivation asset.
And are you looking more closer, so like other countries in South America? Are you looking at the Caribbean, or are you going straight from Colombia to Europe or elsewhere? Well,
yeah, I think right now there's definitely the domestic market has opened up in Colombia, and Mexico again is opening up, and then again Europe definitely has the highest willingness to pay for its consumers, so that's a market we're looking to target as well.
Briefly, how did you go public? Did you do an IPO? Did you do a reverse takeover? How did you come to be?
Yeah, we did an RTO, reverse takeover, and we were previously known as Primary Energy Metals. So we financed that company and then did our listing statement, and finally we're able to list on Wednesday.
What's your favorite South American Colombian dish? What do you like to eat?
So it depends where you are. If you're in Bogota,
we talk about, like, if you listen to a bunch of episodes, food always comes up. It always makes an appearance. So, yeah.
Well, you better have an hour because I can talk about food forever, okay? I'm a huge food connoisseur, and I might actually plug my favorite restaurant in Colombia on this.
No, please do, because we need to go.
Yeah, definitely. So the empanadas in Bogota are really good. If you're on the coast, the fish is really good. They do a really good fried snapper. When
I say we, because a colleague friend of mine named Sahar from Vicente Sederberg, we were on a conference, and we actually did a street food tour in Cartagena. So the fish, the seafood was extraordinary. So I can relate.
Yeah, unbelievable. And in Bogota, there's a restaurant called Osaka Peru, and it is Japanese Peruvian fusion.
I'm in.
and I have to say, it might be the best restaurant I've ever been to. That is saying a lot.
Osaka Peru.
It's there's a few of these restaurants. There's one in Lima. There's one in Buenos Aires, and I think there's one that just opened in Miami as well. And it is pretty high end, but some of the dishes they have a tuna foie gras dish that is second to none. Melt in your mouth.
So if there's a way that they could infuse CBD into it, this thing would take off.
Oh, for sure. Maybe we do a joint venture with them down the road.
That's great, and I believe you get to know the culture of wherever you're operating in by through art, through literature, and of course through food. What else? What else would you want our audience and our listeners to know about Mota Ventures and your plans going forward?
Well, I think that Mota Ventures is definitely a stock to watch in the near future here. We have a lot of really, really positive work that we've done in Colombia that we're really excited to share with everybody coming up. So 2020 is going to be a massive year for us in terms of executing on our plan, and we're really excited to have everybody kind of tune in and watch us execute as we move forward here.
Sorry, there's a question I do want to ask because, you're very well put together. You're young, bright. What's been the reception for you as a young CEO president when you go into meetings, when you are meeting with, I would assume, a lot older people most of the time? How have you felt? How's that What's the perception been like?
Well, I think initially people are somewhat surprised, I find. I think Colombia is one of the places where, elders and people who are older are treated with a lot of respect, and it's very different for somebody who's younger to come in and be in a position like myself. But I think when you're able to execute and when you're able to deliver and do the things that you say you're going to do, you earn respect. And my track record is I continue to do this, and therefore, anybody that I work with, be it in Canada, be it in Colombia, be it in wherever else we may be, sees that, and they're able to determine that I am able to execute on what I say, and that's what put me in this position, right? So,
no, that's great. No, because we see all different types of CEOs and presidents, and it's good. It's good to see the younger generation, stepping forward and emerging in a new burgeoning industry such as CBD. Are there any plans to go THC or any other products or derivations of?
Yeah, I don't think I want to put a limit on anything, but I don't think there's anything in the short term that we're going to do on the THC front. But again, we are planning to be a massive company and really planning to grow. So I would see that in the future we probably would move into THC at some point.
There are a lot of companies that partner up with celebrities and big names and things like that. And I don't know if you're allowed to say, but are there plans for that?
I'd prefer not to comment at this point in time.
Oh, no, that's great. Well, on that note, we would like to wrap up. This has been an episode of Hashtag Finance. I'm your host, Barrington Miller. I'm here with Joel Shaker, CEO and president of, check it out, Mota Ventures on the CSE. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Barrington. Appreciate having me on.
Broadcasting from the heart of Toronto's financial district at the top of First Canadian Place, CSE TV is your trusted source for what's happening in capital markets. Our Hashtag Finance podcast series gets you exclusive long-form interview content with visionary entrepreneurs and CEOs of companies in the news. The CSE's On the Street segments get you up close and personal with many of our listed companies. And don't forget that you can find the video version of this and all our media on our CSE TV channel on YouTube. For instant notifications, subscribe to CSE TV now.